Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, where I've got some bad news. Sanguine Maria, she is the current fusion, is being nerfed. It is official, and we've got the details here from Plarium. Let's read through, let's see what's actually changing. And yeah, then I'll give my thoughts on everything at the end. Let's go. As promised, we're reaching out to provide a detailed update regarding the current Fusion champion, Sanguine Maria. We've seen the content and feedback surrounding her performance and want to offer full transparency on her design and the necessary adjustments. First and foremost, Sanguine Maria was designed to be a great PvP champion and excel in the arena. Okay, that's fine, while also offering value in various PvE content. However, we recognize that a specific mechanic, her A1 ability to grant extra turns, has created a possibility of taking nearly infinite number of turns against bosses, effectively preventing them from ever acting. This ability to solo high-level PvE content is not in line with her design and is not a healthy state for the game's overall balance. Even though she needs to be built in a very specific way to show such spectacular PvE performance, it puts her too much out of line with the role we initially designed her for. To address this specific PvE issue while preserving her intended strength in PvP, we'll be making the following targeted adjustments. Her A1 skill will no longer grant an extra turn when fighting bosses, and the damage of her A1 will also be slightly decreased. Her passive will decrease the damage received to a lesser extent when fighting bosses compared to its current effect. Our goal is to rebalance Sanguine Maria for her intended role and fix the PvE imbalance, not to implement a global nerf. Her power and utility in PvP will remain intact. Okay, that's good. We're planning to implement these changes live in the upcoming weeks. So no big rush on the change. They'll fix her eventually. Next big patch. So if you get her early, I guess maybe you could have a chance to solo some bosses. That we'll talk about that in a second. We want to provide you with this detailed explanation so you have the full context to make an informed announcement to your communities. Also want to assure you that we take this seriously. We're working to avoid such situations from occurring in the future. Thank you for sticking with us and waiting for the details. I mean, it's a well-written post, to be honest, and it's good. So I will say, just broadly, I think that this answer, broadly, is actually very good. Now, I do have a big problem with how they handled this whole thing. My biggest issue with how they handled this was yesterday, the official content creators were told, we're looking into this nerf for Sanguine Maria, but you cannot tell anyone. And that to me is really frustrating. I don't see an issue for me personally whatsoever where like just tell people. It's like, guys, we're looking into her. We might be nerfing her because of this solo potential. We might want to stop that, but we'll come back to you like in a day with some actual decisions and some actual changes. For me, that's fine. I mean, people be pissed off, of course, right? Obviously, but I think that would have been better. I think it's just really, yeah. I'm that's what I'm not happy about is, and especially because that information was leaked. So some people heard about it, plenty of people knew about it, but we couldn't actually talk about it. Most of the content creators were forbidden from talking about it. So a lot of people were left in the dark when a lot of other people were not left in the dark. I just think it's a very unfair situation. And yeah, again, for me, just coming out and saying, look, everybody, we're not happy with this Sanguine Maria thing. We think we need time to test it and have a look. We'll get back to you probably tomorrow. Apologies. It's a messy situation, but there we are. I think some background context as well. So, I mean, question, should they have tested this and have this sort of sorted out and worked out before she even came onto the test server? I mean, yeah, realistically, they should. Now, when she was on the test server, as you guys know, she was bugged. The embargo for the videos on her had to be pushed back. It wasn't until after the weekend that Plarium were actually able to come in and bug fix her on the test server to get her working. So literally there was almost no time, right? We had about less than a day, I think, to make videos. The videos went out. Plarium saw it and we're like, uh-oh. And then they went to try to fix it basically yesterday. So it really happened in a very small time span. That's the result of bugs. Should it have happened? No. But it did happen. And yeah, I think the time frames for this stuff is not too bad. But again, the big issue for me was not telling people up front, or having only some people know up front that this stuff might change, and forbidding us to talk about it. I personally hate being forbidden to talk about it. It reminded me a lot of the Turtles, where the Turtles were leaked, and yeah, we're not allowed to talk about it. It's like, come on, bro. Come on. But yeah, let's look at this. So now the other thing to know about her, she's actually very I cannot reiterate this. If you're thinking, sitting there, for 90% of you, probably, yeah, I don't know. A lot of you guys are pretty late game, end game players. So you might have been able to pull it off. But genuinely, for probably 90% of you, you would not have had the gear. I tested it out, yeah. The gear requirements for doing this are exceptionally high. So for example, in Bronco's video, which was the first one, the first like half of the video, he has her with 6-star crushing rend, and he has her in a plus 18 dread bomb. Now, my condolences to you if you have a plus 18 dread bomb, and he had 4 mythical gemstones, 3 mythical triangles to give him an extra turn, and then a damage red one as well here. So my condolences if you are a player who has a plus 18 dread bomb and you've got 4 mythical gemstones in it, all for the extra turns, and you're stacking up like the 20% extra turns with her inherent extra turns, you're getting all that extra ignore defense, and you're ripping through everything. Then yeah, I mean, feels bad for you. I'm going to guess certainly 90% is an underestimation. I'm actually going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say 100% of you do not have a plus 18 mythical dread bomb. Full stop. We don't even need to include the mythical gemstones. So that part of the Bronco showcase is definitely misleading, in the sense that, you know, you might think that it's really easy to build a solo Sanguine Maria. It's certainly not easy. And I also didn't think it was... Most of it is not a huge problem for the game. If you were able to build her, for example, the solo hard dragon, you could build a Marius. And again, I tested this. You could build a Marius to solo it faster and easier. He wasn't actually that good, relatively to what you would already have. And not to mention, you'd be able to just destroy hard dragon anyway. I do think there were a couple of issues with her. So number one, she was too strong against Fire Knight, because she gets so many extra turns. You know, so you had about a 70% chance to get 1 extra turn, about 49%, let's call it 50%, to get 2 in a row. So you've a 50% chance that she has a 9 hitting A1 effectively, which is just ridiculously good against Fire Knight. So I can understand them wanting to tone that back. To me, that actually makes sense. You know, like, she was effectively better than an ally attack champion against Fire Knight, but it was also random, so you could easily have runs fail. So, bit too random. So yeah, definitely that's a bit of a bummer. She would have helped people with Fire Knight, but there you go. And I do think there was big potential. And indeed, there's big potential in general for any champion with extra turns. There's a Dread Bomb problem waiting to happen, because this is most likely a pay-to-win relic. This is a Forge Pass relic. Now, the Forge Pass hasn't been selling any mythical gear, mythical relic crafting materials, but it's very possible in the future that it will. And the only consistent way to get this might be to spend money. It's pretty darn likely that the only real way to get it will be to buy it with money. And all this extra turn power, if you stack it with a champion like her, who can get all these extra turns, it does have the potential to break some bosses. Particularly strong with her, because she is effectively a 70% chance on her A1. Then you're giving her a separate 20% chance here. You're giving her a separate 15% chance from Merciless set. It's not unreasonable that she can spam extra turns. But this could be a genuine balance problem for any champion with lots of extra turns. So watch this space in the future. We will see. It's interesting, one thing they had to do in the past, which is a nerf similar to this as well. Relentless set, 18% chance for an extra turn. So the Dread Bomb at plus 18 is stronger than a Relentless set, yeah? Much stronger. Consecutive chances reduced by 45%. I would say that this is perhaps something that they should consider as just a general change for the future of the game at some point, for things like Dread Bomb, for champions like Sanguine Maria, anything like that they want to do in the future. Yeah, because I think just like a blanket thing of being like, okay, we don't want infinite extra turns. That probably feels better and is more reasonable than being I, I think telling people we're going to nerf your fusion, even though it's effectively the same thing, is more upsetting to some people. Yeah, anyway, look, there we go. Going back to this, is she still a good champion? Yeah, I think she's still extremely good. It's mostly she's worse against bosses. And I think that's fine. I actually think that's fine. I think she's still really good. I don't have an issue really with Plarium saying we wanted her to be really good in PvP, like really, really strong arena champion that's, good in some PvE content, but it's not like a boss killer. I mean, she's effective. It's effectively like a similar thing to Fabian, right? Do we have a problem with Fabian? Is Fabian not good enough because he's a monster in PvP and like he's good for wave-based content, but rubbish against bosses? No, he's great. I've got no problem with them having that goal for a champion. It makes a whole lot of sense. So I don't have an issue with that. It's just a real pity that it's delayed until basically when the fusion has started to announce the info. That sucks. The main thing that sucks is they had info that they should have shared yesterday, which was before Summon Rush. Like, this is my problem. Summon Rush has started, I think it's a pretty cheap Summon Rush. And we were advising people, well, I was advising people, you probably skip this one anyway. It is only 3,000 points, so it's not the end of the world if you've done it. But, like, it's, by the time the actual events for the fusion are starting, like, day one is kind of nothing much is happening, but it's kind of started properly now with the summon event. It's a bit late to tell people, like, you really should have told people yesterday that, hey, something might change. Wait a few hours on summon. Wait a few hours before you do summon rush. Is that a big deal? Like, guys, we'll give you some info tomorrow. Even delay the summon rush. I feel like there's better ways to handle it. I think this is well phrased, but there's better. They could have done it better yesterday for sure. So yeah, there you go. Again, for me, I don't think this is a massive nerf. I actually, in a sense, I don't think this will affect too many people too much, aside from Fire Knight. And they're definitely, to be fair, there was the potential for sure, and there still is, I think, with some other champions and any future champions, the potential for some of this extra turn stacking to like just basically completely destroy some bosses, which again, I do agree with them that I think that can go too far, but we'll see. We will see. So there you go, guys. Again, like I said, the gear requirements to make Sanguine Maria work were very, very high, and if you had that gear, you would have been able to destroy any of the content she was destroying anyway. Again, I will say, to be fair, huge condolences. If you are a player with a plus 18 mythical relic and you can't beat Dragon 10 hard, if you can't beat Iron Twins, it's like, oh shit, I've got my plus 18 Dread Bomb with my 4 mythical gemstones, but that Iron Twins 15 is just too much for me. It's a bad day for you. There's no question. But yeah, I think it doesn't affect most players too much. She's obviously just, I think Fire Knight, losing out on her for that. She'll still be very good for Fire Knight, but she won't be busted, which she kind of was before. That's sort of my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think about this whole thing. I'm sure that everyone is going to be very reasonable. Comment sections are. I do think psychologically there is an interesting phenomenon with the nerfs, like where if they came out and they were, let's say she's hypothetically, I don't know, an 8.5 out of 10, which feels about right. They say, okay, we want Maria to be an 8.5 out of 10. If it just came out of the gate like that, everyone would be like, fine, it's great. But I think people get more angry if she was initially like a 9.5 out of 10, and it's like, we're lowering her to 8.5 out of 10. You're still getting an 8.5 out of 10 champion, but the fact that she came down, even though she's exactly the same spot, I think people are really angry. What they should do, this is the smart thing, is you start her off as a 7 out of 10, then you buff her to the 8.5 out of 10, then people are really happy. So yeah, worst thing you can do is nerf her to an 8.5. It's okay to start her 8.5, but really the smart thing to do to make players happy is to buff her up to an 8.5, and everyone's happy. Surprise, we're buffing her at the start of the fusion. Hooray, she's actually better than you thought. Isn't this wonderful? Oh, this is fantastic. I think it's just psychologically, it's a thing, I think. Anyway, relevant, not super, mildly relevant. That's sort of what I think about it. Again, let me know what you think. I'm sure like people are furious and all the rest. But yeah, I kind of like it was a shit show yesterday. Let me tell you that. It was a shit show. I found it honestly very stressful, and like nothing useful came for me out of all that stress. Like You know, I would have been better off ignoring it. You know, if I'd just been busy for the day, I'd missed everything. Nothing would be different, except I would be happier. There was nothing gained from a bunch of rage on the internet yesterday. It's just shockingly, it's probably true of 99% of the rage on the internet. Nothing useful actually ever came of it. But yeah, let me know if you what you think about this. Again, you might think it sucks, but you might think it's okay. I don't know. For me, I think it's both. I think it sucks a bit. The way that this happened sucks. There's definitely an element of it being a bit unfortunate. But I don't mind the change to her. I think it's fine, and I don't think it actually affects too many people too much. But it does make sense, and I think she's still really good. Like very worthwhile fusion for Arena. And wave content too should be very helpful for faction wars and stuff like that. But there you are. That's Sanguine Maria. Wow, people don't like her actually. That's surprising. I wonder if it's because of this nerf. Probably is more of a protesty thing. Anyway, there we go. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.